This is Valley News Live at 10.
Right now, construction season is in full effect across the FM area.
But the projects are causing interruptions for some local businesses. Valley News Team's Nishay Taylor explains how some are being impacted.
In the spring and summer seasons, it's hard to escape the sight of large construction equipment popping up on project sites around the FM area. And many of those construction projects are parked in front of businesses, which can cause some minor interruptions to their daily work.
It's definitely been hectic.
Courtney Scher is the owner of the Carmine and Hayworth Vintage Shop on Main Avenue. She says the construction taking place a short distance away near the Bell Bank Tower is having an impact.
I know a lot of my customers can't find a place to park.
But parking isn't the only problem. The traffic is also an issue, deterring customers from visiting the nearby businesses.
When a train comes by, it backs up for blocks and blocks and blocks.
Scher also says she wasn't formally given notice when the construction was happening, which left no time to prepare.
I wish we would get a little bit more of a heads up so we can prepare our customers.
Across the river in Moorhead, the Thai Orchid restaurant took to social media to remind their customers that they are still open during the ongoing construction on Center Avenue. And while these businesses learn to deal, Scher offers other business owners a piece of advice if they are dealing with a similar situation.
I think just being upfront with their customers.
In Fargo, Nishay Taylor, Valley News Live.
Speaking of construction, a heads up in South Fargo, sections of I-29 will temporarily close for construction at the 64th Avenue Bridge project. North and southbound lanes will be closed tomorrow from 9 p.m. overnight until 5 a.m. You can also expect interruptions in that area for the next week while contractors install beams for the bridge.
All right, taking a look outside now. We had some severe weather in some parts of our area tonight. First Alert Storm Team Chief Meteorologist Hutch Johnson joins us now with details. Hutch.
Justin, thanks so much. We begin with a look from our northern valley where we do have a few showers and thunderstorms skirting the international border. Some dark skies just off to the west of our home of Economy View there in the Devil's Lake area. Let's get you to the latest on the radar because things have been a little on the active side out near the Brainerd area where you see all the cluster of lightning that's been ongoing for much of the evening. Now, Fergus Falls picked up a little bit of activity in the last hour, but it really hasn't festered up to anything severe and in fact is diminishing in intensity now. Look at the hours of rain that happened Brainerd and Point South here, beginning say around 5 o'clock and just oscillating and persisting in that same area for some time. Flash flood warning, Brainerd and Point South. Rainfall estimates, by the way, between 3 and 5 inches of rain in that area with hail. A lot of severe weather there. Oh, look at this, just right on the border, due north of Langdon, is a storm that could be capable of some hail moving east along the international border. A few of our counties have seen the watch dropped, including you in Fergus Falls and Otter Tail. But the watch does continue for Grant County and down toward the Sisseton area. A few severe thunderstorms are possible, and there could be some overnight rumbles of thunder as well as we continue with some very hot and humid conditions. Tomorrow will be the main event as the humidity arrives. It's going to be a sticky and hot day. I'll have hour-by-hour details on a First Alert Weather Friday coming up here, Justin and Stacy, in just a few moments.
All right, sounds good. Thanks, Hutch.
New tonight, a North Dakota man has been sentenced to life in prison after pleading guilty to first-degree murder in the death of a child. Eric Longi Jr. of Tokyo, North Dakota, was also convicted of 3 counts of child abuse and child neglect. This comes after law enforcement discovered a deceased 5-year-old in the basement of his home back in May 2020. Another child from the home was hospitalized for more than a month. Both were foster children. An investigation revealed that 2 biological children were also abused. Also new tonight, Fargo police are looking for your help in finding a man they say is involved in several burglaries within the city of Fargo. Take a look. Police say anyone with information can contact Red River Regional Dispatch, or you can text anonymous tips using the keyword Fargo PD to 847-411.
Continuing coverage of a story we first told you about last night, authorities still have not recovered the body of a man who jumped off the Sorley Bridge between the Minnesota and North Dakota border in East Grand Forks. Valley News Team's Alex Larson has the latest on the search.
This is where crews spent over 5 hours searching for a man who jumped off of the Sorley Bridge into the river. But they're not back out again today. Sergeant Pemberton with the Grand Forks Police Department says the water right now is just too difficult for crews to see in. Last night, just after 4 p.m., officers responded to a home with reports of trespass, which is just a 10-minute walk from this location. The suspect left voluntarily and said he was going back to Grand Forks. Less than 30 minutes later, an officer said that same man jumped off of the Sorley Bridge into the river. Officers tried to throw buoys and life jackets to the man, but he was unable to grab them. They lost sight of him moments later. Polk County Sheriff's Office and Grand Forks County Water Rescue are leading the search and rescue investigation. Reporting from East Grand Forks, Alex Larson, Valley News Live.
Police say they know who the man is and his name will be released at the end of their investigation. Now to a story from our whistleblower hotline. After recent storms knocked down countless trees across the valley, some folks in Fargo are still worried that more might come down, especially one off 31st Avenue South.
So what do you do if you're concerned about a tree but you don't own the property? Valley News Team's Aaron Walling brings us the story.
Sarah Fries is raking up debris from a dead tree behind her home off 31st Avenue South.
Constant, nonstop battle. Just cleanup after cleanup. It feels like a 24-hour job.
The tree is tall and rotting, and people who live nearby are concerned about what will happen if it falls down.
It could fall down on sheds. It could fall down on people walking through because this is a very busy alleyway. I'm constantly cleaning up the debris.
According to a whistleblower that reached out to us, they had made calls to the city of Fargo and Fargo Housing to look into the situation.
So we're out over here looking at all the properties all the time. And through this process, we have identified that tree as being one that needs to be removed.
According to Fargo Housing, the tree is not an immediate threat, but they have contracted someone to remove it later this summer.
And it'll be done probably out before August,
which will be a relief to people who live nearby.
Less hassle, more safer, knowing that you're not going to have to worry about having a branch fall on you.
In Fargo, Aaron Walling, Valley News Live.
And the city's forester told us they don't normally handle private property trees. They recommend getting a local tree trimming business to come check it out. They say they have seen instances of these cases being escalated to small claims court.
And if you need help with an issue in your community, give us a call on our whistleblower hotline. That number on your screen, 701-369-3187. It's a voicemail. It's there 24/7. Just leave your tip and we'll do our best to get to the bottom of it.
Officials in Detroit Lakes say swimmer's itch has been found in the water there, but they won't be able to treat the lake until next week. They assure people the water isn't dangerous. They say if you do get the itch, symptoms only last for about a week. We talked with a local nurse to learn some tips and tricks to avoid getting the rash altogether.
Any barrier to prevent that parasite from getting into your skin would be helpful. Applying waterproof sunscreen or any other waterproof barrier. I've heard of some people using coconut oil or Vaseline.
They also suggest towel drying or rinsing off in the shower as soon as possible after leaving the water to help protect against swimmer's itch.
The House Select Committee investigating the events of January 6 last year held another hearing today. This one focused specifically on former President Trump's administration interacting with the Department of Justice regarding the 2020 election results. Former DOJ official recounted his reaction to an email sent from another former official, which he says he was pressured to deny Georgia's election results.
In my response, I explained a number of reasons this is not the department's role to suggest or dictate to state legislatures how they should select their electors. But more importantly, this was not based on fact. This was actually contrary to the facts as developed by department investigations over the last several weeks and months.
Committee chairman said today's hearing is the last public hearing this month. They're letting the committee investigate new evidence that's been collected. The public hearing is then set to resume sometime in July. As the country anticipates the Supreme Court's upcoming decision on Roe v. Wade, several senators have introduced a bill designed to prevent the federal government from issuing an order to keep abortions legal everywhere. The bill would prohibit either the president or the U.S. Secretary of Health and Human Services from declaring a public health emergency to protect abortion access. The bill would also redefine the term abortion to mean the intentional removal of a pregnancy for any reason other than to preserve the life of the fetus or to remove an already dead fetus. As of today, this bill has 14 signers. That includes North Dakota's Kevin Kramer.
Just as NDSU alum Carson Wentz gears up for his season with the Washington Commanders, the owner of that NFL team has been subpoenaed for questioning regarding alleged workplace misconduct and sexual harassment.
The sexual harassment at every turn. I've been in very dangerous situations where, there's been drinking encouraged.
Daniel Snyder has denied any personal allegations of wrongdoing. NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell has not released the internal report, but he told lawmakers the team was fined $10 million and has made reforms.